everybody. Welcome. What? Oh yeah, John's recording. We have lots of devices here. I should not be sitting down for this. Okay. My name is Jan Touchberry. I am a senior gold ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. Super excited that you guys came tonight. And for those of you joining us online. We are going to talk about doing Plexus as a couple tonight. And we have some really great guests that I'm excited to introduce to you in just a little bit. But first, we are going to talk a little bit about our products. And before we do that, we have the handy-dandy Plexus disclaimer. The opportunity of a lifetime is brought to you by independent Plexus ambassadors and is not sponsored. At Plexus Worldwide, we want you to know that both the health and wealth results that you are about to hear may vary from person to person. These product statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and these products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Check. So right now I want to introduce to you a friend of mine. Her name is Christy Stout. Come on in, girl. She's got some notes. Yeah, sure. This is an informal meeting here. So we decided to talk to you about products this evening in a little bit of a different way. We are going to talk about objections that some skeptical spouses and skeptical non-spouses may have when you're trying to talk to them about Plexus products. So the first one is slim, and guys, but seriously, it's pink. You have to drink it. And so, okay, how do you overcome that?
Here's what we say to that. We say, let's be real. Real men wear pink, real men drink pink. If you're out at a kid's birthday party and they offer you some pink lemonade, are you gonna say no because it's pink? No, you're totally gonna drink it.
I drink it.
But the cool thing is about our pink drink, it levels out your blood sugars rather than spiking them up.
Good point. Great rebuttal. Okay, next. We have our ProBio 5, but Christy, probiotics are just a fad, right? And I feel fine without it, so why do I need it?
Okay, so here's what I say to that. You probably do feel fine, but I think honestly we've forgotten what feeling great feels like. And come on, you guys. Sorry. No, you're totally fine. So let's think about this. Do you suffer from chronic fatigue, allergies? Do you crave carbs and sugars? All these could be symptoms. All these symptoms could be signs of an unbalanced or unhealthy gut. And once you get that in check with our probiotic, digestive enzyme, antifungal combo, you're going to remember what feeling great feels like.
I think people have forgotten what it feels like to feel normal.
I think so.
And we've all adjusted to a new normal, and it's not necessarily good. So
absolutely.
Good point. Okay, and the duo, the second half of the duo, BioCleanse. How many people have heard this? I've pooped enough already. And okay, gosh, gross. Why do we have to even talk about it?
Okay, so here's my rebuttal to that. Let's be honest. When we were babies, we ate and then we pooped. We ate and then we pooped. We ate again and then we pooped again. So I remember when our kids were babies, we changed several dirty diapers per day. And when that pattern changed, something was wrong, right?
Yep.
Like they got stopped up, they got cranky, and we were really concerned. And so I'm wondering, why is it that now when we don't do that as adults, it doesn't concern us? We don't eat and poop and eat and poop and eat and poop and eat and poop. So why not? I think that's something that we should address. And I think that BioCleanse is really the answer to that problem.
So what I hear you saying is that cranky people need BioCleanse.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to go with yes on that one. I didn't write that down, but.
All right, next we have Mega X. And omegas, I don't really need those, right? And okay, who wants to burp fish all day? Gross.
Okay, so I love this one. I've done research on it. I think this is, anyway, I'm just excited about this one. So omegas have a ton of benefits, but one, the most important to me is brain health, okay? So would you agree it's important to keep your brain functioning at its highest level? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Crowd participation, I love it. Okay, so if we want to thank Sharp, get promotions, ward off Alzheimer's disease, then I would say yes as well. Did you know that men are already at a disadvantage when it comes to omegas and fats in the brain? You have testosterone in the body. Testosterone does not want to hold on to fat. That's why when women stop drinking Diet Coke, they shrink like this much. Men stop and they shrink down to this teeny tiny size. It's not fair. It's because the testosterone doesn't want to hold on to that fat. Okay, so you're already at a disadvantage. So you need omegas in your life. Ours is one of the best ones, and the coolest thing about our omega, you won't have those fishy burps. It's completely plant-based, And so if you want high functioning brain health, you're going to need this in your life.
Excellent. Wait, before we go on this, can you talk to me about what you were saying about the dumb jocks yesterday? Because that was really
okay,
funny.
so this is my theory because I've been doing this research about testosterone and how it does not hold on to fat. And so we looked into this for our son. And they say that boys, their brains can starve. They need that fat to thrive, and they need that fat in order to function properly. So in my mind, I'm thinking, in high school, you have like the dumb jocks, and then you have the smart girls who help them in school. Like, it's because they work out so much, and they're trying to get rid of body fat, and rid of body fat, and rid of body fat. And they don't have the brain.
Okay, there you go. See, they all need omegas.
That's why they gotta get that sports scholarship. Okay, next.
Okay, X Factor. Those are pretty pricey vitamins, and I already buy my multivitamin from the store. We don't say which store.
Stop doing that. Okay, so basically, here's the deal. My husband is here. I adore him, and he is a researcher to a T. So if there's something coming out, he's gonna look at the consumer reports. He's gonna watch all the blogs, look at the DVDs to see if whatever. He's gonna look and see if we need this in our life, and if it's top quality, if it's worth the money that we're going to spend. So I wonder why we don't do that when we buy multivitamins. We go to a big name brand store and purchase a vitamin, and we look like, oh my gosh, it's got so much vitamin A in it. This is going to be amazing. I need vitamin A. My doctor told me to. And so you drink it, and then you take it, and then all of a sudden you're peeing out this neon yellow. Y'all, I used to race myself and like how long would it take me to drink to get my pee clear again? Like, it was a game. You can ask Johnny. And he's like, babe, stop with the game. But what I didn't realize is that those nutrients were leaving my body. It could not absorb what I was getting. And so to my husband, who does the research and who is very money savvy, we're wasting that money. Like, you're literally peeing out dollar bills. So when we did our research and Plexus did their research, they found we have this patented aloe blend in our multivitamin. And when you do that, you can absorb up to 300% times more of the vitamin that you're ingesting. So you may spend a little bit more on our vitamin, but it's grade A supplement, and you're going to be able to absorb it. Okay, so spend the money. Sounds good to me. Stop peeing out your vitamins. Yeah, let's not do that. Don't do it.
Edge. But you know what, Christy, I don't need anything more than my Monster drinks because those rock.
Oh my gosh, no. I have nephews who swear by Monster, and I'm on their Snapchat every time, like, stop, put that away. Do not do it, y'all. The acidity and the crazy amounts of caffeine in Monster alone, they cause rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure, dehydration, cardiac arrhythmias, seizures, headaches, insomnia, and even death sometimes. Okay, children have died from drinking too much Red Bull, and adults have passed away from drinking too much Monster. So it's not worth it, number one, to do that. And we have an alternative. This is our natural energy pill. You're not going to be jittery. There's no crashes, so you don't continue to need more and more and more. Come on in, y'all. No, you're good. I'm glad you're here. So you won't need more and more and more throughout the day. And the way that it is formulated, you're not going to grow immune to it, or you're not going to continue to need more and more pills like you would pots of coffee or Monster energy drinks. And so it's amazing. I think we need to make the switch for sure.
For sure.
You're not going to have the heart arrhythmias or the death.
Oh, well, yeah, death is important.
Let's
not do the death.
I enjoy living.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, ease. I take drugs for my pain and discomfort after workouts, et cetera, So who needs that? Because, seriously, it can't really work, right?
Sure. Okay, so some people say they're going to stick with the drugs. They're medically proven, right? Well, guess what? Ours is too. There's tons of studies on our main ingredient, which is Eterol, which is New Zealand green lip mussel. It always tongue-ties me. But the cool thing about this, and all the studies show that this is our key ingredient, is key in reducing inflammation. And once inflammation is down, blood can flow and your body can heal. So rather than masking a symptom, you're healing the body. And I think that's amazing. Long-term effects of this show that it's better on your stomach. It's not going to eat away at the stomach lining, which is huge for me. I remember when I would take said orange pill, my stomach it would hurt really bad. And so this has been a great alternative for me. And then the cool thing, because we have a capsule and the cream. The cream, one of the key ingredients is aloe. Y'all, aloe is a carrier, just like in our vitamin. We have aloe in this cream. So it carries the cream underneath the skin. So it actually gets deep into the muscle, rather than a topical ointment that just stays there. It gets cold and then it gets hot okay? This is actually gonna dig deep into the muscle and help give you comfort, give you from that pain that you're feeling. I know that we use it after workouts and things like that.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
your research and your
and my notes.
helping us overcome objections. Yes, you're
Thanks,
awesome.
girl.
Thank you. So moving on to the main reason that most people are in this room tonight, we are gonna have a little interview time with my good friends, Jenn and Phil Mango. Phil is a senior Ruby. Phil is a senior Ruby ambassador, yes?
Yeah, I think
Soon
so.
to be Emerald,
That's right.
right?
Closing on the door.
Closing in, and Jenn is an Emerald, closing in on Sapphire.
Yes.
Yes. So I just remembered that I didn't plug in the thing for the sound for the video, so I'm gonna let you tell your story
Okay.
Great.
while I'm plugging in the sound for the video. How's that?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Vamping.
You want me to start?
Of course, you started.
So my name is Jenn. I know a lot of you in this room. Thank you guys for coming. This is so surreal to be here and to do this with Phil and to work our business together. We have been together since we were 17. He says he was 16. It was
2
4
days
days.
before my 17th
Seriously,
birthday.
one day.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm 4 months older than him, and he will never let me live that down. But we have been together now almost 25 years.
Over.
Over 25 years.
It was
It's a
25 in
long
June.
time.
That's
Well,
right.
okay, so 25 years.
Yeah.
We have lived, we have 3 kids. We live in Frisco, and I have a degree in speech language pathology, have a master's degree. Phil had a degree, a sales degree, a bachelor's.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to establish my seniority here. But I was a stay-at-home mama for several years, and then I had to work, and we needed 2 incomes in our family. And in May of 2013, I just felt really, really uncomfortable with life and the way things were going. We have 3 kids, one of which has had some significant developmental and health issues. And I was feeling very much like something had to change, and prayed about it, used the God card on Phil, and came to him and said, I've really been praying, and I feel like I need to take the summer off. And this was in May. We depended and needed the income that we made every month. And Phil was like, well, you said God told you that you needed to stay home, so how can I compete with that, right?
Right. So,
And didn't know what I was going to do, except that I was going to enjoy my kids and figure out what I was supposed to be doing. In July of 2013, I kept seeing this friend post on Facebook about this Plexus thing, and I have always struggled with my weight, up and down, and more importantly than my weight, I struggled with sugar cravings, and really the kind of sugar cravings that you find yourself having a conversation with yourself, arguing with yourself whether or not you're going to eat a brownie, like those kinds of sugar cravings. And I knew all the right things to do, but I would go through this process anyway. Long and short of it, we got a sample from the friend that was posting on Facebook. Could not afford the products. There was no way I had created the packing in our family budget. And I had hired a nutritionist prior to leaving my job, who was still working with our family through the month of June and July. And so I was afraid to take anything that I had to account for. Have any of y'all ever accounted to somebody about your food? It's like such hardcore business. So I was like, I'm not going to take the sample. You take the sample and see what happens.
right. So we'll pick up the story from there. We went on a date. We went to McKinney to Square Burger. Anybody been?
Yeah.
And I had the black and blue, and I enjoy a good burger. I ate half of it. I remember the first time I took Slim that mid-morning-ish.
Right.
We went out that night, had the Slim, had half a burger, a little bit of my onion rings, and I was full and done. And she looked at me and said, "Do you feel well? Are you sick?"
I thought you were sick because he never left.
I'm like, "I'm full. I feel great." She's like, "Okay, we're getting on this today." So,
It's like, what?
so let me give you all the facts. So let me speak to the guys for a second. So Jenn had decided, because God had told her, and I just appreciate that about him, that she needed to stay at home. So she created a $1,400 a month hole in our budget for 2 months. Then it was going to be another $155 to join, because we want to get the cheapest possible way. We're going to be a wholesale ambassador. And with the enrollment fee and the first set of prices, it's going to be around $155. I was looking at a $1,400 budget hole deficit for 2 months, and now we're going to spend another $155 on top of the money that we just spent on the nutritionist. And I said to her, okay, fine, we'll do it. It's going to be tight, but you have until next month to make this back, and we can't do it next month.
Right. And Phil had always, we in our church had unfortunately had the experience with some people in the past where the relationship was built on what you could maybe give me or get out of me. And so Phil had always said very vocally in our house that we will never do an MLM. We won't be involved in network marketing because the only people that make money in those are the people that start them. And we don't want to be those people in our community of friends or our circle of friends. So he kind of challenged me. He had taken the product. I had not taken the product, guys. But there was something in me seeing that drastic. Y'all don't know Phil. But if you knew Phil, that was like such a big deal, even in that moment. We very quickly started seeing the results from the products. And I just felt like there was something that I was supposed to do with this. And so I took that challenge. In the last 2 weeks of July, basically made almost half of what I was earning income-wise, leaving my speech therapy job. And we looked at each other. He looked at me and goes, okay, so what if you really tried to work this? I was like, apparently you kind of tried, but I don't. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was sharing my results on Facebook. I was being passionate about something that I saw other people have success with. And Phil was like, okay, go do your thing.
Right. So that was July and August. She was able to cover what she was making and make $400 more than what she'd made. So we're kind of getting out of that hole. And then in September, and we'll get into the questions after this, in September, I said, okay, wow, you are really making this work. I see the potential. I don't want to be the skeptical husband that like gets left behind when you go soaring to the top. So I realized after talking to, and we'll talk about this a little bit later too, to an ambassador that was already on our team, that working together as a couple was not only going to be good for us as a couple, but financially it was going to reap great rewards. So.
And we were tired of fighting over sharing Slim. A bag of Slim in our house for 2 people was not lasting for a month, and then we very quickly had our kids grabbing at it, and so we realized too that there was a need.
So we'll fast forward to where we are today. That was in September of 2013 when I joined. Like we mentioned, she's been an Emerald since May of 2014, and I'm approaching Emerald. It could hit it as early as this month, and she's closing in on Sapphire. So we went from being in the hole, $1,400 a month, to having 5-figure checks every month for the last 2 years. So with that, hit us.
There you go. Okay, so we are at Park Place Lexus. So for people who are watching that don't know why we get to use this awesome room, can you tell me why we get to use this awesome room?
Sure. So when you become an Emerald with Plexus, you are given a car allowance monthly to purchase a Lexus. And so we were able
lease.
Or lease. So Lexus, yeah, purchase or lease. And that has been such a blessing. We've had our first Lexus for
just that over 2 years.
A little over 2 years, and I'm approaching my 3-year anniversary with Plexus on Sunday. But they are so gracious that they offer us free space to come and do meetings so that we can host trainings and allow all of you who have joined us tonight to get to go out and dream a little bit, sit in your car, visualize when you're going to be here, because you all can be.
We're sitting in a car tonight. You and me. Okay, good. All right. So you talked a little bit about you deciding to join because you didn't feel like you wanted to be one of those husbands who got left behind.
Right.
Can you expand on that just a little bit?
Yeah.
And tell me what that means to you?
Certainly. So I've always been very supportive of my wife, and we work pretty well together as a team. We're 50-50, which means some days are 90 and 10, and other days are 10-90, which averages out to 50-50. But
I don't know that we've ever landed
balance
on a day
does
where
not
it was
exist, right?
Actually 50-50.
So there was this couple that have still are ambassadors for us, and he came to me in late August, and he said, "Why are you not doing this with your wife?" And I'm like, "Well, I support her, right? Go out."
In your mind, you were doing it with me, right? Yeah.
I was supporting her behind the scenes. And he said to me, "Have you looked at the compensation plan? And first off, there are very few companies that let husbands and wives work together, one underneath the other. He goes, because if you set it up to where you're under your wife, from a business standpoint, then you can make around 25 to 30% more per month if you're strategic about how you build your business. And so that caught my attention. And
You're a money guy,
I'm a numbers guy.
a numbers guy.
I like, I think
He's also a money guy.
enjoys cash.
Enjoys cash. I enjoy cash.
I've had more fun when I had it on me than when I didn't.
Absolutely, yes.
So yes, I realized when I did the math that we're actually leaving money on the table, and that we could utilize her strengths and my strengths and form one really good ambassador.
That sounds familiar. We'll hear about that in a second. So is there, this is skipping down the list of questions a little bit.
Sure.
They're still on the list.
You're
so
good,
you've been
you're
prepped. So is there a specific time that you would suggest a husband to join his wife's team versus working in tandem underneath her?
Yes, I think, our story is much like that. We kind of happened upon the right timing. We felt like it was about the right time. But I was just about, or had just turned gold when Phil joined my team.
Okay.
And the company suggests that. And while there are always going to be situations that are, extended situations where maybe something should be handled a little differently, I think it's a great rule of thumb. And this is why Plexus allows you to build yourself as wide as you want to go. And so I think the tendency is when we have our spouse join with us immediately, we get really excited about doubling up on bonuses and doubling up on commission structure, that we want to just stack that spouse. And you can get yourself in a situation, one, where maybe if you're just beginning your business, we're very big believers that you don't overspend, that there's so many other companies out there that ask you to invest heavily into your business. And with Plexus, you really it's a minimal expense to really invest and start your business. And so we don't want people going out and opening 2 accounts and having to manage 2 accounts if they're not in a position financially to do that. And then the other thing is that once you've established yourself wide as an individual, when you add your spouse, then you can be more strategic to look at things like our compensation plan allows us to do what's called fast start goals. And I would love to have been armed with that information and be really strategic when Phil joined to do that, to stack him and help him get to fast start goals, which would then
Double the
bonuses, but then also give him a quicker start to his own business and really give his business the legs to stand on so that both would be strong. We too many times have watched couples join at the same time together early in their business, and what happens is then they end up turning off one account or the other because it's just too much to manage.
Yeah.
So there really is something to it. And if you feel like you're ready and you're not quite at gold, that's okay, but make sure you don't have just 3 people or 1 person and then you're adding your spouse, because that will be just, in the long run, it will be more pressure on you.
So how do you recommend to people on your team when they come to you and say, well, I want to add my spouse, but he's not really going to work in business?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
So I would say it like this. When I joined in September of 2013, I wasn't intending to work the business either. I'll just be blunt. I was supporting my wife. It was
if I'm traveling and I have somewhere to go and I've done a presentation, but I need his help with that. And he really is like, but I have nothing to do with that. But we really approach our business. It's all of it is ours.
Yeah.
There's just going to be things that I naturally am going to be able to handle better, and then there's things that he naturally handles. And so it doesn't have to look like the perfect ambassador in order for your spouse to join you on this journey. It just needs to be an area that you're able to really sit down, talk about it, and look at what, hey, this is what I'm great at. This is what you're great at. Let's see if we can make one really good ambassador.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna play their video.
Awesome.
We've mentioned it twice now,
Yes.
so,
Woo!
so we have, Jen and Phil have been so gracious to contact some other ambassador couples in our company. And so we have 3 videos to play for you guys during the course of the evening. This is Cody and Jenn Hawkins. Cody's a senior gold and Jenn is a diamond sapphire. Will you explain that for a second? Because that is impressive. She's got 2
I'll
jewels.
explain just quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am
So what Plexus allows you to do when you hit diamond, it's 4,500 points. And once you get to 6,500 points, they allow you to re-enter as a brand new ambassador underneath yourself. So much like when your spouse is underneath you, you can stack those points. Think about it where you can actually re-enter underneath yourself and go diamond, sapphire. So now you are just, it's called rolling in the dough, I think.
Yeah, I'd say that's what it's called.
So our goal is to be double diamond, so that I'm a double diamond under her, and we are double rolling in the dough.
No, you would really be quadruple rolling.
Quadruple.
That's what that's
right.
Honestly. Okay, so let's pray for a moment that this actually works, because I didn't test the audio. I apologize. But, okay, good. And it's not working. There you go. I can't just read that.
Is that good?
Okay. Well,
Does that
I
work?
on
Is that
this.
good?
You
Is
can
it
ask another
working?
question. Can you try to- Sorry, my husband also is the tech guy. Although I can hold my own, I have no idea what just happened to that. Just exit out.
do?
Which way are you gonna go? Okay. While he's working on that,
Right.
if you can just get out of that program, I can get back into it. So what is the most challenging part of working the business as a couple? I'm just gonna rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I think the challenging thing, I'll jump in, which is a challenge because we'll step on each other's toes sometimes. No, I think the challenging thing is when I know that my strength is the technical and the strategic, and I try and push that on Jen, or vice versa, when her strength is being relational and developing and coaching the team and actually bringing on customers, ambassadors, and then she expects me to do it at her same level. So it's all about expectation and communication, and that's the biggest struggle I think we face.
I think that, and in addition, I think just if you are currently working your business on your own, we all go through seasons of planting seeds, where you're talking to lots of people, you're sharing information, you're following up, you're giving out samples, but then there's like this wait time, and then you can have kind of a harvest time. And so that's biblical, that's natural, that should be happening. There's not ever going to be a time, even if our perception from what we see on Facebook is that other people are experiencing highs continuously in their business. The truth is that they're not. So when you
I'll interject. We know diamonds who are like, hey, I added 600 people to my team, and that's level 1 through 12s, right? We get
and
paid
a
on
lot
level
of
1 through
those
7s.
are
So just
8 to
don't-
12s.
Yeah.
Right? So they're building their team, but they're really not building their income or building their check per se. But what can happen as a couple is that when you're working your business and you're really pushing hard and it's a dry season of planting and not seeing any fruit being really reaped, you can go, it's really easy to blame. Like that person's not carrying their weight. You're not doing what, you're not all in, you're not as passionate about it. And just start
Sounds like you've said that to me.
Never.
It's interesting
Comparing
that you're bringing that up.
yourself to your spouse or to your significant other, or even your power partner when you're working together, to know that there's going to be those natural seasons and to expect them to come. And we would all like to say that we're going to stay in this season of harvest. But that's just not a reality. So
It's good.
that would be the biggest
Anything.
challenge.
You agree? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I have nothing to add to that topic other than what she said.
That's probably really wise of you right at this second. So what is the best thing about working together as a couple?
Oh, there's so much.
There's a ton. There really is
Really
a
is.
lot. And,
Okay,
you know, I think in terms of personal growth and support, that's huge. I think also when you've got kids and they're seeing that you're working together and that you can grow something together and they see how you collaborate between not only a mom and a dad, but a husband and wife and then a business partner, basically. And they learn those good life skills and communication skills. That's certainly some of the benefit.
I also think that so often when we talk about dreams or goals as a family, if you're not doing that, we really challenge you to do that. But when you have a dream or goal to go on a family vacation, to build a bigger house, to save for college, to pay for this trip or that thing or this thing, so often our career paths in the corporate world send you on a path like this in order to make those kinds of dreams and goals happen. And with Plexus, actually what's happening is that as we grow our business, we're coming to this point where we have the time freedom. We can spend the day together if we choose to do that,
Right.
and go do the things that we want to do, spend time with our kids, go hang out with them at their school. And then when we're doing those things, we're staying more in alignment, because I think too often we see people go, wait a second, we got the bigger house, but that really didn't solve any of it wasn't as great as we think it was gonna be. And with Plexus, at least we have found that as we're working towards those goals, it just is, we're more and more aligned
Or in 10 for sure.
together. So
Yeah.
I think I really can't bring you together.
I got faded out.
I did.
We're gonna try this one more time.
Okay.
All right,
See if we
here we go.
Okay.
Feeling success.
Or not. Yeah.
It's a big tease. That's all we wanted to
Yeah.
do, was just tease you guys.
Side.
There you go.
Okay, we'll just play it this way.
Boom.
How's that? That
Perfect.
works. We're not. Hang on. And there's no sound. So you get to hear it from my computer.
Correct. That's something that
Can y'all
Bill
hear
and
that?
Jennifer Mango brought up. Couples running the business together and doing Plexus together. And I'll let Jen explain kind of how we tag team this effort.
So we have found that really locating our strengths and focusing on our strengths has been very helpful for us. Cody's better at strategic planning, writing, marketing, branding, and I'm better at the day-to-day communications with the team, connecting with team members, customers, product support, all of that kind of stuff. So he takes all of those administrative, strategic, marketing stuff off my plate and guides me, whereas then I'm out in the field working with the people. And not to say he doesn't recruit or share or anything like that, he does, but then when he does, he's kind of hands them over to me and lets me get them trained and supported and coached. So that's kind of how we have built. What do you want to add?
Yeah, together we make one really good ambassador. But we do take strategic, on the strategic lines, we do take a step back, take dinners every 90 days to 6 months to kind of go over things and refocus, make sure we're focusing on the right stuff. So that's the advice we can give. Best of luck to you.
Awesome.
Cool.
So,
Sounded like really similar advice, I think.
yeah, So whose advice really is it? Is it yours or Cody's or?
I think great minds think alike.
Okay, good.
So,
So he talked about collaboration. Can you talk to me a little bit about what the collaboration looks like for you guys? Do you do the
yeah,
We did a lot.
60-day dinners and stuff like that?
we do every 6th day, I think. We try and do dinners together.
We
No,
look for every
honestly,
excuse to be away from our children, right? Yeah.
I would say that for us, at least on a, if not monthly, every couple weeks, we do a little reset. We just calibrate and see where we are. Are we getting closer to our goals or further away from our goals? Is something working or not working? So one of the big things we stress to our team and is really important in our marriage as well as our business is communication. We are over communicators.
And we're both pretty creative, but we're creative at different times, which you guys probably can attest to. It happens in your house too. Like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about this. And there are times when I'm just like, I don't have anything to give. I have no ideas. And Phil's like, so what do you think about da 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 da? And I would just challenge you to be open because he thinks so black and white and so analytical. And I think kind of big picture, flowers, rainbows, what does it feel like? What's it gonna smell like? And he's like, no, we have to have the 100 steps to get to the rainbow and the flowers. And so on several occasions and during our journey that I can even recall in this moment, there have been times where I'm like, we don't need to do that. We already have that in place. And he's like, no. We need to take a step back. We need to refocus, and we have to be systematic. And so being open, again, that goes back to your challenges and really playing off of each other's strengths, is that I need to shut up and listen when he has an idea of something and he can identify a problem in our team, and vice versa. And so we really do make a wholehearted effort to look at that on a regular basis.
Yeah, you've got to communicate. It comes down to communication.
That's great. So you mentioned something a little bit earlier about husbands. One of the main objections might be, well, I already have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So
I
do.
Yeah.
Realistically, to build a business together, what time frame are you looking at, do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I can say that, so I work full-time. I'm in sales and energy. My boss was in town for 2 days this week, and I still was able to help out in the Plexus business at night when I was home and in the morning before I left, and then some text throughout the day. The way that we work it, especially when I'm really in kind of work mode where I've got to concentrate on my salaried job, is that I'll still run and I'll still bring Plexus up and I'll say, yeah, but something my wife is really passionate about, so as not to jeopardize my job. And then I'll refer them to my wife, who will then sign them up under me.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh,
So
lovely.
that's one way that we found is really a successful way when you're working a full-time job. That doesn't preclude you from sharing Plexus in the workplace. If anything, it gives you a better platform that you can support your spouse when you're doing so.
And I think it varies day to day. I think, several of our uplines have said, Diamond uplines have said, if you give this business hobby, the amount of time you would give a hobby, you're going to make hobby pay. And that if you can give this business, the amount of time that you would be spending on a profession, then you're going to make that profession pay. It happens over time though. And so I think as long as you're communicating and each person in the relationship feels supported, that, like Phil said, can be a 90-10 day and then a 10-90 day. So if you're working and your time is really unavailable during the week, then make sure that you're investing some time on the weekend and know that it's short-term sacrifice for a long-term benefit. We're planning right now, we were talking on the way here, talking about our Kona trip. We're getting to go to Hawaii for the third time in a row, the third year in a row. And those kinds of benefits are worth the sacrifice, guys, if you work on a 4-hour, you go to a meeting on a Saturday, or you go and strategy plan together and take the 3 hours on a Saturday to plan together. So.
Totally agree.
I was watching a video today. Amy Paul is the Diamond Ambassador, and it was fantastic. She said she has 7 kids, y'all, and she homeschools, and she still is a Diamond Ambassador. And she said that she has not watched a movie in over 2 years because she knows that that's something that she was going to have to sacrifice. That was her downtime. That was how she regrouped and kind of chilled out at the end of the night after she put all 7 children to bed. And she just knew that that was something that she was going to have to sacrifice in order to build this business and build this life that she wanted with her family and for her family. And so she put the kids to bed, and she said she would work another 4 to 5 hours at night. So she was basically working from 7 to midnight on her Plexus business after the kids were down. And so I agree, you're finding nooks and crannies of time, knowing that there's sacrifices, but knowing that the sacrifices are worth it. Well,
Yeah, I have a really simple phrase that I live by, and so I don't get upset when people don't jump on the bandwagon, because people do what they want to do. People will make excuses when they don't want to do something. So if they really want to be here for a meeting, right, they'll get here. If they don't, it's because or they make an excuse, they really don't want it. So to me, if you really want to make this work and you want to support your spouse, then we'll just do it.
And
Find
I
a way.
think the only other thing that we have to be reminded of is that thinking about your business and how you want to run your business is not necessarily working your business. So if you are at work and you're stressed out all day because you think, I want to build this Plexus business, I need to build this Plexus business, I need to post on Facebook, I need to call that person, none of that is business building.
Yeah.
So you really haven't worked your business, even though you've spent half maybe your workday thinking about it, stressing about it. If you put pen to paper and write down, I'm a big list maker, Bill's not, but if I make a list for him, 3 to 5 things.
I'll do it. Give me a
Post,
list.
make sure, now the joke is, have you posted it? Oh, have you seen my post? I've already posted today. Making sure you're doing those little things that don't take a lot of time. Amy Paul worked 4 to 5 hours. As her business was growing, it required that much time. Guys, where you're at, for most of you, it doesn't take 4 to 5 hours. It takes 15 to 30 minutes every single day. And if you can give it 15 to 30 minutes, we all have 15 to 30 minutes somewhere in the day. Social media allows us that the time frame doesn't really matter. You can do it anywhere in your day. So.
Cool.
Good point. Okay, so I'm gonna endeavor to play Tim and Michelle Thomas. He is an emerald and she is the diamond. And we'll see
In Ohio.
if in Ohio. We'll see if the sound works this time.
Hey everybody, Tim and Michelle Thomas here. I'm an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus.
And I'm a Diamond Ambassador.
And I want to share with you some tips on working this business together as a couple. We're on vacation, so you'll have to excuse our look a little bit. So my first tip is just be there for your partner, in one way, shape, or form. Remember that while you're going about through your day, that it's not just you got to be thinking about. You got to think about what the other person might need. Sometimes they might need some sort of support from you. So just remembering that and keeping that in mind will help to maybe ease the tension, because building a business together is not always easy.
And I also say to have fun. Doing this business full time together is actually living the dream. So don't take yourself too seriously where you can't realize that this is an amazing opportunity. We're blessed.
Right.
And so don't take yourself too seriously. And then lastly, I want to say something that we've implemented and it makes a huge difference is have a once a week strategy session where you can kind of just plan out the week, know kind of what the goals are.
Yeah.
And if you, preparation like that actually helps keep things flowing very smoothly. So we like to do that on Monday morning. So that's
Thank you
it.
very much.
Awesome.
We stressed them out. Just when we told them, we were like a minute and a half at the most.
90
So
seconds.
that's why I think they were like, ah.
Well, I'm so thankful that they took time out of their vacation
Yeah.
to do that. That's awesome. Okay, so you've talked a little bit about how to balance Plexus and work. How do you balance Plexus and family? Because y'all have 3 kids.
We do. So I think it's a myth. Balance
It's
is
a
a myth. If you think about it, look, how many people can say my life is totally, namaste, it's totally imbalanced. There's days where you feel like, oh, I've got my stuff together, and then there's days where it's like, oh my God, how do we survive that day? So we strive for it, but more importantly, I think we strive for continuity, and we involve our kids in our business from day one. With our first Hawaii trip, we're like, when mommy gets this, when she gets to this level, we're taking all of you, we're all going, it's going to be amazing. And we did. And they surfed for the first time, and we got to do all these different adventures that they wouldn't have been able to do without Plexus. So for us, it's about really making it a true family business.
And I think even now, the summers, everybody can say summer's a challenge when you have kids at home. I think kids seeing their parents work hard for something is something that we don't get typically with the corporate world. Mommy and daddy drop us off at a daycare, we go to school, we get picked up, we get brought home, and we don't see the value and the efforts of our parents typically. And so Plexus allows us to have that. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We remind our kids on a regular basis when there's sacrifices to be made. Like tonight, our girls are at home alone, taking care of themselves.
Yeah, we're great parents, by the way.
Great.
Let's brag about
She's
that.
13, with the 13 and 10-year-old, they're okay.
Some guy was playing Pokemon Go. He said, why don't you watch our kids?
Stop.
So tacky.
Oh, still.
He can't behave a whole.
I cannot. It's my limits. Approaching my limit.
But we do balance it. We really encourage, our kids are all on the products, and so they're little walking testimonies. And like Phil said, along the way, we make sure that they understand that the blessings that they get come from the Lord, but then also from the hard work and the efforts and then of the blessings of this company and this opportunity. And we allow them also to vent to us without judgment when they are frustrated. Because I think with everything, when there's a sacrifice involved, it's hard for kids to understand. And they shouldn't have to understand what we can get frustrated at 42 years old, but they're not allowed to get frustrated as a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And so like our daughter was making fun the other day, and I wish she
I wish I recorded it. It was
but we
classic.
let her kind of go, and she was like, I'm Jamaica, let me take a selfie with my Plexus, and just being kind of over the top, ridiculous.
Doing
And
a
so,
really bad impression. Yeah.
right, and so there's not, perception is reality. Again, letting them kind of vent and see the real side of things, and then also the blessings have been really
That's
Sure.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, just a couple more questions. How do you overcome the objection, well, I'm not a salesperson?
So I am a salesperson.
I am not.
Jen is not a salesperson, and she is way better in this business than I am. So I think it has to do with that you don't have to be a salesperson to be successful in Plexus. You need to be a share person. You need to be able to be relatable and approachable and passionate about the products. If you're those three things, people will naturally buy product from you and go to your website and do so. You won't have to do much. It's when you're someone that, like myself, who's been traditionally trained in sales, that you have to work on being relatable and shareable
and not
crunchy,
cheesy.
yeah, and not cheesy, because people can get repelled by that. So I think you actually are at a much greater advantage not being in sales or having sales experience when coming into Plexus, because you don't have some of the bad habits. You can truly just be passionate and share, and people buy into that passion. They're going to buy products from you, or they're going to buy products because of Plexus, the company.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, right? There are people who are uber successful who don't know a lick about the products, but because they're so excited and so passionate, people want to, I'll take whatever you're taking because I trust you.
Yeah.
Whereas there are other people who are so well informed and with so much crunchy knowledge, and people just are repelled by it, right? Think
Or
about
they just
that.
tune it out.
It just-
They're not capable of
Yeah.
processing.
That's right.
And the only other thing I would say is if you don't feel like you're a salesperson or even a share person, just practice listening. If you can practice listening, people love to talk about themselves. If you give them the opportunity, they will start talking about themselves, and you can very quickly start to pick up on buzzwords like I'm tired all the time. I really have a hard time with this. My mom is constantly complaining of her knee pain. I can't sleep at night because I'm stressing out about how to pay for my bills. And if you can connect and become relatable with what they're sharing with you, all you're doing is mirroring back for them and being bold to say, I have something that might help with that.
Well, okay, so let's be honest, that is our Facebook feeds, right? It's people
Right.
sharing about themselves. And
Exactly.
so listening in person, but also listening on Facebook.
Watching, right? And making yourself visible then to that person and commenting and liking a couple of their posts and not throwing a Plexus on them at first, but letting your feed pop up in theirs and then going from there. Yeah.
So,
Okay, you mentioned before about your relationship at church and how Phil was like, we will never use the N-word. We will never be involved in network marketing. We will never, because we don't want our friends and family to do, to think we're trying to use them.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a lot of people who feel that way, or who maybe have already been in some sort of network marketing that feel like they've kind of burned all the bridges with their friends and family members because well, this is just another one of Jen's things or another one of,
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that?
That's a great question. I think that when you burn through your friends and your relatives, you've only burned through 2 of the Frank's list, right?
Yeah.
So you've got friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids connections, and then your social organization. So church and softball and all these other things that you do. So to me, well, this is statistical fact. 78% of statistics are made up on the spot. But you've got around 250 people in your circle of influence. I promise you've got less than 250 relatives, right, friends. And they always used to say, go to your relatives and friends first, you get all your nose out of the way, and then you can move on. You know, if anyone says that I don't have anyone to talk to or there's not an opportunity there, you have the A, N, K, and S that you could build and go and share Plexus with. And I think what you'll find is, and I'll let you touch on this, when you do it with your spouse, Plexus, then you, what?
Sure, well, yeah, no, that's the next video.
Yeah, when you do
Never.
Plexus with your
Never.
spouse, then I think that speaks to those friends and relatives that saw you doing something else before.
Sure, and I would just say too that whatever your perception is of what's burned or what happened in the past, if you're living out loud and you're living genuinely, those people are still watching you. And so I think when you live with purpose and you live with passion and you continue and you don't quit and you don't jump 3 months down the road to the next thing and then to the next thing, and then like Phil said, if your spouse comes alongside of you, people will start picking up. It may take a little bit longer than what you would like or are comfortable with, but eventually they will come back around. We've seen it happen over and over and over again.
Me too. Oh, you're still doing this after 2 years.
Yeah.
There must be
Right.
something to
Right.
this, so let's talk now.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple more questions, but I think we need to play the last video.
Do it.
Because we need everybody to
Wake
know
up a
we're
little
kind of
bit.
going to sleep, so we don't want you to go to sleep.
Thanks.
So we're gonna,
We're
if
going
you are
to-
a Plexus ambassador, you probably are familiar with Chris and Suzie McColl, maybe more Chris than Suzie. So this, just the picture tells you a little bit about what you're getting ready to see. So the disclaimer is if you have children in the room, you might want to just do this for like the first 30 seconds. Unless you want to do some explaining in a little bit.
Hey everybody, it's Chris McColl.
Suzie McColl.
You've been asked to give some advice on how to work your Plexus business as a couple.
Because we work ours as a couple.
Here's how it used to be at the McColl house. Susie would call me all day at my old real job. She'd call me up, she's like, I need you to get home so you can make sweet love to me all day.
That is not how it went. What I remember was, get home to help with all those freaking kids. They're driving me crazy.
However it went down, in my mind,
Yeah.
it was the other way. But
Right.
listen, I think it's also really important that you guys take our advice, because this is important
Yeah,
stuff,
we
okay?
have serious advice right now.
Like, if you're not paying attention, turn everything else off around you and really listen to what we're about to tell you,
Yeah,
okay?
this is good stuff. You need to listen. Stay out of our way.
We got no room for other couples. Are you kidding me?
We will
rock you.
rock you. So, get out of our way. Right, okay.
Like that?
Yeah, now, if you listen to that advice, our other piece of advice would be to go all in together. You both have to go all in.
Don't let just one of you go all in and the other person's all in and you're over here going, why are they so crazy?
Yeah, and
And you go all in together.
if you just dip your big toe in, Chris, what do you get?
You get big toe results. So go all in. It's here to stay. Let's do this. The stand of our word, Pop!
That's great advice.
Okay.
That's good.
Yes, my favorite line. If you dip your big toe in, you get big toe results. Big toe results. How many of you have big toe results right now? I think I'm feeling a little bit of the big toe results. Go all in. Okay. I can't do that.
That's good.
So yeah, let's
Just for the record,
We'll
Phil
just
did
shut
take off his hat for like a millisecond at convention.
I did.
Just for those of you who are
Chris
wondering,
didn't?
'cause
Oh,
Chris
no.
never has his hat off.
No,
Very
ever.
rarely.
Yeah. Okay, so last couple of questions. How much is it gonna cost a couple to get going in this business if they decide that they want to do this together?
Again, one of the beautiful things about Plexus is that it is the minimal cost. There's no difference whether you're signing up individually or as a couple. It's the $34.95 plus the purchase of a welcome pack. You're gonna be purchasing products because you wanna be products of the product or a product of the product. When you take it, and so there's no additional investment needed. It really,
And if you do the math, think about it this way. So when we started, we would flow a lot of the customers under me because who knows how much commission you get when you're over 500 PV.
yeah,
25%. When you're a couple, you get 30%. Because that 25% that I'm making, Jen's getting an override of 5% on her level ones. So now it's 30% of the PV. So we stack the PV under me, we make 30%. What about the business builder bonuses? So we add an ambassador underneath us. Let's say it's a $99 welcome pack. What's that? Anybody know off the top of their head what that pays you?
$25.
Yeah, $25, $24.88, $25. Wrong. We get over $36 on a $99 welcome pack because she's getting $12.75 or $12.50, and I'm getting $24.88. So $99 welcome pack pays us, we get 33% of that, not 25%. So again, that's the math that I've done, that we've done to increase our income by 25, 30% by being strategic.
And well, and I added 6 ambassadors my first month, just because that was the way that we had joined. That was the cheapest in. I got to make that silver bonus, which was 100, but had we added, in the long run, looking at that, those other 3 ambassadors, if they had come under Phil, he would have earned a second $100 bonus. So you're doubling up on bonuses as well, those one-time rank advancement bonuses, as when you work it as a couple.
Yep, great.
So it costs you more not to than
It really does.
to actually do it.
So just to be clear for people who don't know, it's $34.95 for the first ambassador plus a welcome pack. And then if you add your spouse, it would be another $34.95 plus a welcome pack.
That's
Correct,
right.
but then you're making that bonus
Right, you
immediately.
make the bonus off of that.
So it really is you're out of pocket that extra $10, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's really.
Great.
Pays for itself many times over. And then when you get to jewel status, right? So when I hit Emerald, that's 2 cars, right? One for her, one for
2
me.
trips to Hawaii, 4
That's
tickets.
4 tickets to Hawaii instead of 2. That's 2 rooms in Hawaii instead of 1. So all 2 sets of gifts, 2
Yeah.
sets of Mountain Gyms, 2 sets of everything.
Tiffany bracelet.
Contests, convention points, leadership points, all those things are doubles. We get 2 rooms, we get all those wonderful things. Even though we're just working as one decent ambassador.
One decent ambassador. So you talked a little bit about some of the perks, the car and the gifts and the trips and this and that. Is there a way that somebody who's interested, I know we don't want to go into compensation plan right this second, but is there somewhere that people could get that information?
Yes.
Yes? Yes?
So it's a yes, no question. I just answered it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I would say contact the person who
Yes.
brought you to the meeting or
Absolutely.
who referred this video to you, and you will get the information that you need.
Actually, there's tons of resources on YouTube, but in terms of signing up, get with the person that referred you. Absolutely.
Okay, so those are all the questions I have. Does anybody out here have any questions?
I have just one. What's the, as far as with the Emerald, with the Lexus, what's the range of money that they give you per month for the Lexus?
Great question. So the question was how much they give you when you're an Emerald ambassador. So when you're an Emerald, or for a Lexus, Emerald and Sapphire, you get $500 a month. And that's good for 36 months as long as you're a qualified ambassador. The other great thing is if you slip below that qualification, there's a 2-month grace period. So let's say to be an Emerald ambassador, you have to have 1,500 points. If you do $14.99, like maybe one person in this room did 1 month,
Maybe.
maybe,
One person.
maybe, they still pay the $500 for 2 months, and then assuming you get up there next month or the month after that, they'll continue the payments in the reason. So it's a grace period, and then when you hit Diamond, it's $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Yes.
How many ambassadors and or customers are there in the DFW area? How saturated is the market?
I love that question. So the question is, how saturated is the market? My wife and I were actually talking about this today. There are, under Celeste Wynn, who's our double diamond upline, where Jen's a level 3 for her. And I think she has, what's the total jewels that she has in just DFW? She didn't ask the other day.
But I think it's like 100.
Speak up there.
182, 183 jewels.
So she has 183 jewels just under her. Is that just DFW or is that
No,
throughout?
that's just the total.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
total.
Yeah.
In DFW, there might be 75 or 80 of those, right?
Right.
So I say that to say this. there are still people in this market who don't know what Plexus is, who have maybe heard of it but have never tried it. There's just no way is DFW saturated. More importantly, if you do your Frank's list and you get your 250 people, I promise you that 220 of them have never either heard of Plexus or tried Plexus. There are 30 people on there who've heard of it, and there's maybe 15 who've tried it from somebody else because you didn't get to them first. So it's no way saturated. There's 448,000 ambassadors in Plexus worldwide right now. Harvard Business Day that came out a few months ago said that if an opportunity had less than half of 1% of the population of a particular country, it's cutting edge. So there's 300 million people in the U.S., which would mean that if there are 1.5 million or less in Plexus, it'd be cutting edge. So we're at 448, it's cutting edge. Now, the study went on to say if it's under 500,000, then it is what was the opportunity? A ground floor opportunity. So 448, 500, it's still ground floor. So with technology, we're not limited. Like my parents, I think, did Amway when I was a kid for 3 months back in the mid-'80s. And they had to stock up the garage. They had to do meetings. They were traveling. And they didn't have the benefit of the internet. So they couldn't reach somebody in Alaska without a phone call, a long-distance phone call. They couldn't reach somebody in New Zealand or Australia. And we have ambassadors on our team in New Zealand, Australia, and Canada.
I think the mindset, unfortunately, is that when you live in wherever you live, you think that this is where you're going to build your team.
Yeah.
And with social media, it really is not. It's quite the opposite. People that are close to you, that live like with you, and they've gone and had a cheeseburger with you last week, are much less likely to believe that you all know all this stuff about gut health all of a sudden. And so the people online, as you're presenting and posting information, they're like, oh, wow, he's doing this now. I need to talk to him about that. And so that's where we have seen our business just kind of really kind of spider web all across the country, like Phil said, and then internationally.
I want to say one last practical thing for the guys in the room or the significant spouses who are thinking of joining. The way that I introduce this is more meat and actual things you can use. When I'm introducing Plexus and I've got a full-time job, this is the easiest way to do it. When you're guys, and again, I don't want to be sexist, but when you're guys and you meet another guy, the first thing you say is, what do you do? My answer every time is, well, I'm in the energy business, but my passion is Plexus. And I shut up. And then they go, well, what's Plexus? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you. Blah, 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 blah. So that way I'm not talking about my job and then I have this little hobby. I always say I'm in the energy business, but my passion is Plexus. And then
you turn him over to me.
And then I flip him.
Because that's not within his comfort zone any longer to get into the product knowledge or let's talk about your pooping issues or whatever. You do that.
Yeah.
So it works.
Go ahead.
This is our friend, Mr. Darren Wagner, who graciously allows us to use his space every month. And so he wanted to pop in and say hello right before we close up.
I want to say hi. So when you guys do qualify, please make sure you come see me. I set up a little fleet account for you guys, so it makes it real easy. It's the easiest buying experience.
It is.
Listen, he won't brag on stuff, so we'll brag. Come over here so the internet.
I'll leave these, just grab some, pass them out.
Yeah. So he won't brag on himself, but we bought 2 cars now through Darren. The least painful buying experience, not even painful, of our lives. This last car that we bought 3 weeks ago, emails back and forth for 2 days, like 3 or 4 emails. And then he called me, said the car's ready, just sign the paperwork. We were here for 20 minutes. And he didn't gouge me. Like literally, gang, I'm telling you all, this is the only guy to ever buy a car from.
Right.
So
if you don't ask for me,
you're going to
pay a little more, just letting you know. So, they know this is a volume thing for the store, so but you got to come see me though. All right?
Yeah. Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks always for letting us have this space.
All right, any more questions? We gotta close up here because they're getting ready to close.
Sorry.
No more questions?
You guys can follow us on Facebook if you don't. Phil's posts are much more funny than mine are, typically. But we're happy to help or answer questions if you come up with, something afterwards that you want to answer. It's great.
Thank you guys for being here. I really
Thank you all.
appreciate it. Have a great night.
Thank you.